Welcome to episode 3 of Literally Speaking, All Things AIS, the official podcast of Augusta Independent School District. I'm Tim Litteral, and I'm excited you're joining us. Today, we'll start with a few quick updates from around the district, and then we will sit down with our Gear Up District Program Manager, Autumn Bishop, before moving on to our AISD Spotlight and wrapping up with our In the Loop segment. We'll begin with AISD Headlines, a segment to share important district news and celebrate accomplishments. Dana Bach has been named as the new high school girls basketball coach. Bach was the starting point guard for Augusta from 1989 until 1994 and ranks among the program's top 10 all-time leading scorers. During her career, she helped lead the Lady Panthers to 3 consecutive regional tournament appearances and to the 1993 38th District Championship. After graduating from Augusta, Bach continued her basketball career at Midway College until injuries brought it to an early close. She began coaching at Augusta Independent more than 25 years ago, serving as head coach of the middle school girls team and as a member of the high school coaching staff before stepping away from coaching in 2015. Last year, Coach Bach returned to start the Pink Panthers, an elementary girls recreational team, and this year was on the middle school girls coaching staff. At the October Board of Education meeting, Finance Auditor Paul Maddox presented the annual financial audit report to the board for the 2024-25 fiscal year that audits the district's funds and the school activity accounts. The audit resulted in a clean opinion of the financial statements, internal control and compliance, and federal programs compliance. While it is typical for districts to have at least 1 or 2 findings that can be as minor as a missing signature on a form, there were no findings on this year's audit for Augusta Independent. The volleyball team's season ended on October 22nd as they lost a competitive match to Mason County 3-2 in the district semifinals. The team finished 13-9, the most wins since 2014. We also congratulate junior Adeline Gilliam on recording her 500th career dig this season. Finally, the little free library that was announced in the last episode has been installed next to the Blessing Box along 2nd Street and is ready for use. It has initially been stocked with children's books donated from Penguin Random House, but as the library grows, community members can contribute their own books for readers of all ages to keep the collection fresh and diverse. If you're interested in contributing, please contact Megan Blackaby at 606-756-2105. Today, we're joined by our Gear Up District Program Manager, Autumn Bishop. Autumn, let's start with a little background on yourself. Tell us about your educational and professional background and how that led you to your current career at Gear Up and then, of course, here to Augusta.
Hi, Mr. Litteral. Thanks for having me. So my post-secondary journey started at Lindsey Wilson University, where I earned my bachelor's degree in psychology and human services and counseling. I started working with Gear Up as a district program manager back in 2019. That was during the 4th grant cycle, and I've continued into the current 5th grant cycle. So along the way, I went back to school and earned my dual master's degree in school counseling and clinical mental health counseling from Northern Kentucky University. And I've always considered myself a lifelong learner, the one who's always looking for ways to be involved and grow, whether that's attending a conference, jumping into a webinar, serving on panels, or just learning from others' experience. So right now, I'm also a senior fellow with the Student Success Collaborative, and I work with identifying and helping students overcome barriers to their basic needs. And that's also helping our schools and colleges strengthen the support systems that they provide as well. It's kind of funny because when I first started college, I was sure I was going to work in the medical field and I swore I'd never end up in education. And yet here I am almost 10 years later. During undergrad, I was part of a volunteer scholarship program called the Bonner Scholars, where students commit to meaningful community service all 4 years. And my site placement was at a family resource center in a K-2 school. And the 2 women who ran it, Miss Paula Garrison and Miss Angie Smith, they became like second mothers to me. And that experience completely changed my perspective of what my career was going to look like. I got to see firsthand the barriers kids face before they even walk into a classroom, and it made me realize that I wanted to focus more on the human side of helping others rather than the medical side. And within my first semester, that's when I changed my major to something that better fit that calling. Then just before graduation, I heard about the Gear Up program, which would let me do that same kind of work back home in Bracken County, and now I get to do this every day, and I truly love it.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. Obviously, Gear Up has that focus on post-secondary transition readiness, but you mentioned Frisk, and Frisk is all about removing barriers. And I guess in some sense, that is Gear Up, maybe not sole focus, but it goes along with the mission. Gear Up's not a real common program that a lot of schools have. There's only 8 current districts in the state with a Gear Up program. So many in our audience may not be familiar with the program and the history of it. So I just wanted you to give us a little overview of the history of Gear Up.
Yeah, so GEAR Up is actually an acronym that stands for Gaining Early Awareness and Readiness for Undergraduate Programs. And this is a federal grant program created by Congress in 1998. So it's been around for a while in Kentucky. And this is to help students prepare for life after high school. So we focus on schools where the majority of students live in a low-income household, working with students, families, and educators so that more young people graduate high school ready to succeed in college, career training, or other post-secondary opportunities. So in October of this year, the Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education, which is CPE, they were awarded a 7-year, $35 million GEAR Up state grant from the U.S. Department of Education. And the current project will serve more than 10,000 students in 8 districts across the state, including Augusta.
What are some of the primary goals and objectives of the Gear Up program? I know we kind of mentioned it revolves a lot around post-secondary transition readiness.
So the vision of Gear Up Kentucky is every student prepared for post-secondary success. And when we say post-secondary, we are meaning any education after high school, whether that's a traditional 4-year, a short-term certificate, a 2-year degree, any type of education after high school that students continue is what we refer to. And the mission of Gear Up Kentucky is to increase the number of students from these low-income Kentucky communities who are ready to successfully transition to and through that post-secondary education. And we do this by providing services and support to prepare that whole student and equipping their families, the schools, and the communities to promote and sustain the student success. And primarily, we do this by student readiness. We do college and financial aid applications, college enrollment rates, and while also building those partnerships and providing our students and families and educators with those necessary skills in order to do that. So each year we're serving a high school senior class and we follow them through their first year of college providing those services. And then we pick up 2 cohorts starting in their 6th grade year and also serve them through their first year of college, provide that ongoing support.
So I thought it would be good to sort of break the year down into segments or into span just for our audience to kind of see the types of activities that typically might happen during those months. So you're starting the school year off August through October. What are some types of things that Gear Up would typically do during those months?
So we start hitting the ground running when the school starts. So in August or September, our primary thing is kicking off things by diving right into our lessons that helps our students get financially, academically, contextually, emotionally, and socially ready for life after high school. This is also when we launch our college application campaign and pack in most of our college visits before that cold weather sets in right around November time. Students start meeting in small groups and one-on-one for advising to plan out their goals for the year. It's also a busy time with cert testing. We've got National Gear Up Week and, of course, the opening of the FAFSA in October, which is the free application for federal student aid. And that helps our students see what financial aid they may qualify for. And then we go into November, December. These months are all about FAFSA, so that's pushing these students to finish these applications. They're starting their college and scholarship applications, primarily for those who are wanting to get that early decision deadlines, usually by November 1st, December 1st. And we also run our career workshops that focus on building resumes, practicing interview skills, and learning how to search for jobs. Towards the beginning of the year, January through March, our energy stays pretty high with that FAFSA frenzy. That's a statewide competition that kicks off, encouraging every senior to file before graduation. And then students can also take part in our ACT, SAT prep, join our student ambassador programs, and start applying for our summer academy. And that's a 3-week residential camp on a college campus where they can experience college life firsthand. And then to round out and wrap up the school year, that's when we really focus on our local scholarships and a dedicated senior workday where our seniors get a chance to spend the entire day finishing up their job applications, scholarships, college forms, whatever they're working on. And then we finish with our mock interviews, college match day, and then finally a signing celebration to honor all of those next steps that our students are taking before they graduate.
You've mentioned already multiple times, and I always struggle saying this. I always think it should be FAFSA, but it's FAFSA.
FAFSA, F-A-F-S-A.
Yes. Talk just for our audience who may not be familiar, a little bit about what that is and why it's so important.
Yeah, so we encourage every senior to file a FAFSA because this is a way for them to qualify for student federal aid. That's money from the government that they maybe use towards their post-secondary education. That's how they qualify for grants, which is money that they don't have to pay back. And they're also eligible for student loans, which are a better option to take out for our students versus a personal loan because the interest rates are so much lower. And it just allows our students to see what options are out there because a lot of the times when we're meeting with seniors, they say, oh, I don't want to take out tons of debt. I don't want to go into debt. And the FAFSA is the first line of defense of getting that cost of college down and allowing them to see what they're truly eligible for. I just literally met with a student before I came over here. He did not want to go to college, didn't want to take out the debt. Once we filed his application, he's going to qualify for the max Pell Grant amount. So he's going to get over $7,000 to use towards his college education. And now he's thinking about going to trade school and earning a degree. So it really just opens up opportunities for our students and allows them to see that there is an option out there for them to pursue education after high school.
Right. I know I was fortunate enough to have a tuition scholarship to Shawnee State University, but I also qualified for Pell Grants that I didn't have to pay back.
Yes.
So I was able to use those additional funds for really for anything. In my case, obviously, it was textbooks. I was a commuter, so I was traveling back and forth, but just really valuable some of those opportunities that students want to take advantage of if they can.
Absolutely. And stacking on top of that, our high school students from 9th grade to 12th grade, as long as they have a 2.5 GPA, they're also eligible for KEYS money. So that's the money that is administered through KIA for their grades as they're earning, these grades through high school. They get money that's saved into an account for them. So once they graduate and pursue a degree in the state of Kentucky, they can use that money on top of the scholarships they receive. So there are just so many options for students out there, and that's why I push so heavily for the FAFSA for them to complete so that they know that there is something out there eligible for them.
So a couple minutes ago, you talked about sort of the types of activities you do in certain months, focusing just on this year. And this year's been a little unique because for those following the news, most people know the federal government has had some issues passing a budget and things like that. And Gear Up is a federal program. So there was some question marks early on, but Gear Up here at least continued to work. So what are some of the activities that you've done thus far this year?
So we continued on. September was a little touch and go there because we weren't real sure if we were going to get refunded, but we stayed until the very end and kept delivering services no matter what. So we kicked off with Military Mondays. This started last year, where one Monday each month we have a different branch of the military visit during lunch, and then they do a classroom presentation. And it's been a great way for students to learn about career and education opportunities in the military. We also started our college application campaign. That's another big highlight. This is a full week focused on helping our seniors apply to college, explore careers, and connect with our military reps. It's always a friendly competition among the schools, and this year Augusta reached 100% of our seniors applying to a college, and that's something that we're really proud of because it's something we consistently do well every year, and I love to be able to brag about that, of how well our seniors are invested in this just to see the opportunities that are out there. We've also taken students on campus visits to Morehead State and Northern Kentucky University. That gives them the chance to experience college life firsthand. And of course, FAFSA has started in October 1st. That's going strong. We held a FAFSA parent night a few weeks ago, and we're already sitting at 42% completion in less than a month. Each year, our senior class chooses their own incentive to stay motivated to actually file this FAFSA. 2 years back, the seniors proposed decorating their graduation caps for the first time in school history. So they went to the Board of Education, went to our board members, created a pitch, described why the FAFSA was important, why they wanted to decorate their graduation caps, and they set a goal of 80% of the senior class filing. And thankfully, the board approved it. And this year's class is excited to carry on that tradition. So I would assume hoping by the end of winter, we'll be able to have that 80% completion and students can start planning that design for their caps and gowns that they're wanting to decorate.
As you look ahead in the next few months, what are some types of specific activities that you have planned going forward?
So in November, I'm really excited. We'll be visiting the Benchmark Inn to learn about the hospitality industry. That's including like lodging, the coffee shop, and the spa services. Hospitality and tourism are such big parts of Augusta's economy, and this visit will be a great way for our students to see what local opportunities exist, especially for those interested in entrepreneurship. Throughout the school year, we'll continue visiting a variety of businesses to kind of expose them to different careers paths that are here and maybe ones that they're wanting to explore outside of our community. Next weekend, our seniors are traveling to Marshall University, which is in Huntington, West Virginia, For Green and White Day, that's an all-day event where we'll be spending on campus, touring it, meeting faculty and students, and even getting to attend one of their football games that Saturday. Also really excited about our new job shadowing opportunity that we're going to be launching. So students have had the opportunity to research a nearby industry that they're interested in. They'll be reaching out to that business to arrange a shadowing experience and then spending time learning what a typical day looks like in that career. And I think that's so important because it's a great way for them to discover what truly interests them. And just as importantly, which doesn't. Sometimes the best learning experience happens through that experience.
I'm sure you have dozens, but I'd like you to talk about 3 or 4 examples where you would consider a student really having a success story based on the impact that Gear Up made.
Sure. So one student that comes to my mind is from 2 years ago. He graduated. This was a student who had a background of a lot of poverty, parent incarceration, just some things that statistically he had all the odds stacked against him. And knowing this student, you would have never known that from him. Just the way that he carried himself, was very polite, outgoing, knew what he wanted, and he was interested in a career in aviation maintenance. I had just happened to be talking with a fellow person I'd met out in the community, and they had an internship open up at a local airport where they were wanting to start having co-ops come in and work. So I took him up there one day during school. We toured the facility, got to sit on a multi-million-dollar jet, a private jet, and you could just see the light in his eyes just light up. After we left, he was so thankful that he got to have that opportunity. And I'm happy to say that he is enrolled at Cincinnati State pursuing a degree in aviation maintenance. He's still at that internship site and loves it every single day. His supervisor that I know reaches out constantly letting me know that he's doing a great job and they're so thankful that he's there. And I just think that if this student hadn't had someone there to help support them through this process of finding the colleges that had the program that he needed, having the connections to get him set up. He was set on going to a nearby factory. He was just going to stay there and work. And he really didn't want to do that, but he just felt like that's all there was there for him. But once he saw this opportunity, it just like changed the trajectory of his life, and he is loving it. He'll talk to anybody about that experience. And I'm thankful that we have Gear Up programs that have someone like that assist our students along the way and can be that support person for them. Another student that comes to mind, worked with her all throughout high school, tried to get her to go to school, and just some life things had happened up after she graduated. It had been several years, and actually a few weeks ago, she contacted me and said, "Hey, can you help me fill out my FAFSA? I want to go back to nursing school." So having her set that up, we met, finished her FAFSA. She's enrolled in college. She's starting classes next fall. She's got a new baby on the way, but she's ready to have that support in place to where she can be successful. A lot of the times for our students, there are things that come up that they think, this is going to prevent me from doing anything. I have to change my whole path. I'm no longer eligible to do this. And they don't see that the supports that are there to help them. So she's going to be doing great. Another young lady in the same circumstance, working full-time. She's an assistant manager at a restaurant. She didn't feel like that she had the time or even the money to be eligible to go. And then once we filed that FAFSA and filled out some scholarships, her school's completely paid for. She's able to move up and continue her nursing degree and maybe eventually leave that manager position at the restaurant so she can go and pursue the medical field is what she wanted to do. So I love hearing these student stories. I love being able to be a part of them and just letting them know that there's someone there to help them. The last student that I have in mind graduated last year, and I had met with this student countless number of times. They were always coming to my office wanting to explore a new program, whether that was cybersecurity or marketing or entrepreneurship. And finally, they landed on aviation. That was something they were really interested in doing. So even over the summertime, they had already committed to a college, were planning to do a certain program, and throughout June and July, we met constantly throughout the weeks, getting them set up to actually pursue aviation. And so now he's flying. He's working at he's flying at a local airport, getting that instruction time, and he's wanting to become a private pilot. So again, I just think without that dedicated person to provide that ongoing support, this student would have done well at the university in the degree that he was wanting in, but his true passion was aviation. And so finding ways for our students to pursue that is a huge reason why Gear Up exists, so that we can help these students find ways to be successful in what they're wanting to do in life.
Well, I'm a big advocate of the Gear Up program. It obviously, just the extra personnel is huge for a district our size. A district our size just really could not afford to go out and hire someone additional. So the services that Gear Up provides, I think, has been instrumental in helping our students achieve a smoother transition to their post-secondary life.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the biggest benefits of Gear Up, I think, is having that dedicated staff person to provide that college and career advising to every student. And this is huge because most school counselors are stretched thin with crisis intervention, testing, and scheduling. Actually, the American School Counseling Association recommends that in a high school, there's one counselor for every 250 students. And the reality is that most schools have twice that ratio or more. So having a dedicated advisor helps relieve some of that pressure and ensures that all of our students get that guidance that they need to continue on. And I know Miss Brewer, that's a huge relief for her too, for me being able to take that off of her plate so she can focus on the other things that are happening in the school. On top of that, Gear Up also provides funding for activities and programs that most of our schools couldn't afford otherwise. So everything from our college and career events to campus visits. We also support our individual learning plans, which are state mandated but are unfunded requirements. So our ACE program and Navigator, we help provide that for our schools. We also provide testing for CERT, ACT, SAT, prep for our students, professional development for our staff. All of these help our team stay prepared and to support students effectively. So Gear Up not only enhances our student opportunities, but they also provide that critical financial support to make these programs possible without adding that strain onto our district's budgets that most schools can't afford, especially our small schools like Augusta.
Well, Autumn, appreciate the work you do, and I appreciate you joining us today and talking more about your program and hopefully informing some people in the community about this valuable resource that Augusta Independent has.
Absolutely. I'm so thankful to be here. I love Augusta, and we've got some great work ahead of us. Thanks, Mr. Literal.
Thank you. Now it's time for our AIS Spotlight. Today, we're discussing our Green Dot program. The ION Center for Violence Prevention partners with schools and communities across Northern Kentucky to create safer, more supportive environments through the Green Dot program. Each school year, AIS freshman students receive an 8-hour bystander training from Green Dot facilitators. Green Dot teaches AIS high school students how to recognize situations that could lead to bullying, dating violence, or harassment, and how to safely step in before harm happens. Instead of focusing only on victims and perpetrators, Green Dot empowers everyone to take small, proactive steps called Green Dots that promote kindness, respect, and safety. By training our students to be active bystanders, the ION Center is helping us to build a culture where doing something positive is the norm and every person plays a part in preventing violence. Before we wrap up, it's time to keep you in the loop. Orange and Black Night is tonight, November 7th, with events beginning at 6 o'clock. Admission is $3. The next Board of Education meeting is November 13th. The middle school semi-formal dance is November 15th from 6:30 until 9 o'clock. Tickets are currently on sale and are $10 per person. Refreshments are included. Finally, mark your calendars now for homecoming, which is earlier than normal this year. It will be held on December 6th in conjunction with the homeboys basketball game against St. Pat. That's it for today. We appreciate Autumn Bishop for joining us. We'll be back on November 21st with episode 4. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. I'm Tim Literal, and this has been Literally Speaking, all things AIS. Until next time, stay connected, stay learning, and stay Panther proud.